Hello, welcome to Champions for Life radio and now podcast show. I'm here with Ken and our producer Max, and they have been working on this for months. So we're excited to finally be in-house at First Choice, recording these podcasts and radio shows to share with our audience here in Vegas and all over the world.
Yes, and it's a great privilege to be here. I'm very excited about doing this. I want to thank KKVV for broadcasting this as well. It's simulcast with KKVV. It's fantastic. And it's wonderful to have our executive director, Deborah Costello, who is the director at First Choice Pregnancy Services. Now, for those of you who are not familiar with this type of clinic, First Choice is a pregnancy help center. Many girls who come here, they're pregnant, they don't have a lot of answers. A number of them are abortion-minded, so they're coming in and they're perhaps contemplating abortion. What happens here is not only are the women cared for, you offer free pregnancy tests, you even do sonograms for free ultrasounds, and counseling for the young ladies to find out exactly what their situation is. And after the mom has if they decide to have their child, which hopefully they do, then we offer them any type of assistance that we're able to. And since First Choice has been doing this now, I guess.
And we also provide free abortion pill reversals.
That's exactly right. In fact, we have a story today.
We're the only ones here in Southern Nevada that clinic here in the city that provide those services.
Absolutely.
And we've had a lot of them lately. Actually, I was on vacation, and we had from Sunday to Monday of the following week, we had 4 calls for that. I was talking to Heartbeat the other day, International, who has the abortion pill reversal line that connects us, and we were just trying to fine-tune some things because we've definitely seen a huge increase in women this year who have been able to find the abortion pill reversal hotline by the grace of God. And so there's some good little fine-tuning that we were trying to work on just to streamline it for everybody involved. Yeah. It's good.
Yes,
a lot of changes. You gotta adapt and adjust. The landscape of this is always changing.
Yeah, and amen. So I guess what now? First Choice has been in operation here in Las Vegas now 20 years.
Yep, and, we opened December 7th, 2004. 2004.
Yeah. Since then, by the grace of God, we have seen over 45,000 birthdays, I like to say. Yeah. Moms who've decided to give life for their child, and it's been amazing. Story after story. Sometimes very devastating stories take place, and yet it ends. Very many of them end in happiness and joy, and it's a wonderful thing to see. And perhaps you would like to volunteer. We're always looking for volunteers here at First Choice. If you'd like to be a part of this ministry.
Volunteers, donors.
Volunteers or donors, correct.
Ambassadors.
That's right.
Whatever you need to run a company, we need it here.
Right. And if you'd like to be involved, either in promoting or donating or volunteering, you can give First Choice a call at our number, 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273. And find out how you could be a part. If you're in the medical profession especially, we could certainly use you. And one of the things that we're dreaming about, praying for, is opening up a second clinic here in Las Vegas and introduce this wonderful model of life and blessing to our community, because Las Vegas women are underserved.
Yeah, I'd say we're probably one of the top cities in the country that's underserved. Yeah. When I came here 21 years ago, there was only 2 pregnancy centers in the valley for 2 million people. We're now 3 million people with 2 pregnancy centers.
Yeah,
And so I think we were the most underserved city that long ago, so I'm sure with the growth in population that hasn't changed.
Yeah, so we're looking for that. So pray with us, believe with us that the Lord is going to bless this ministry, as He already has, as we look to open up another clinic here in the Las Vegas Valley, and then throughout the state, maybe even across the United States. And speaking of that, by the way, First Choice has been acknowledged as the model crisis pregnancy center in the nation by Focus on the Family. And I saw that award years ago, and it's quite an honor to be recognized by them. They've been a blessing to us as well. And just so that you can know that, well, we've been nationally recognized, and we are doing well, thanks to the grace of God for American women.
Back in the day.
It was back in the day, but hey, you know what?
Yeah, actually, First Choice, the way it was started was being watched by multiple organizations to see. It was a top-down approach. Generally, when you start pregnancy centers, you work your way up in funding. So you open up doing pregnancy tests, and then eventually you fund your way up to open in the medical side of your clinic. And First Choice tried a top-down approach, which was dropping in a fully medical pregnancy center without needing to open and scale your way to the top.
Yeah. And it's been a success. And
it's been a success, and it's been very challenging, too.
It's always challenging. So, in fact...
when you have 45,000 babies saved,
you know you're
by
doing
God's
something
grace,
right.
you've done something
Amen.
good, yeah.
Yeah, and that's very good news. We thank the Lord for what He's done through this ministry. I mean, it's been an incredible blessing being a part of First Choice, and you can be part as well. You know, I've been very amazed at how many churches in the Las Vegas Valley simply have no idea that we exist. You know, that there is even such a ministry as First Choice Pregnancy Services, where women can go for help. You know, while they're facing, you know, a troubled pregnancy, and what I've found from time to time is that as you approach people, not only just pastors and ministers, but people in organizations, people, business leaders, that type of thing, and even just lay people, that they're amazed at the services. They're amazed that this type of clinic even exists. What many people don't understand is that even though this is a clinic, right, we do not receive any funding from the government. This is a donation-based medical center for women who are in a crisis pregnancy situation. And so not very many clinics can operate this way. But
we're not funded like Planned Parenthood.
No, that's right. Yeah,
actually, they're defunded right now. So.
There you go. So, but yeah, we operate solely on donations and the love of the people who believe in our ministry. And but what's amazing is when you inform folks of this place, and if they take a tour of the facility of our clinic, they're always amazed. You know, they're our 7 counseling rooms, our 3 sonogram rooms, our administrative offices, our lobby center, and
even our patients are amazed. Honestly, they'll walk through a couple different doors. They come to the patient services side with all the counseling rooms, which is the side Ken and I are on.
Right.
And they're like, wow, I didn't know this place was that big. From the outside, everybody thinks it's so much smaller than it actually is.
Yeah, and we're doing a lot
We've
with
maxed
limited
it out
space.
in here,
Right.
yes.
So consequently, what happens is folks fall in love with the ministry just by getting more information about it, and that's where you can be a part as an ambassador. You could, not only inform your church about what we are, but you can have us invited to your church, for example, so that we can share with people how we're a blessing, not only to the community, but quite often to even members of some of the folks that are sitting in that congregation. A number of families have already gone through maybe miscarriages, or perhaps, have a daughter or a loved one or a friend who's contemplating abortion, and they don't know where to turn. Well, First Choice is that resource. First Choice should be the first place they look. So that's a great way for us to be, through you, to be introduced to your congregation, to your pastor, and to your congregation about what First Choice is. This is a legitimate ministry, but we're doing it through the medical profession, helping women that are in need during their crisis pregnancy, and it's working.
Partnerships with churches literally save lives. I was just actually having a conversation with a pastor a little while ago who just joined our board. And we were just talking about the importance of pastors being equipped and prepared to have conversations with those people in their congregations. Yep. We were talking about a conversation I had with a pastor I've known for years a few months ago. And he was talking to me about one of the guys who just become a Christian in his church who had a pregnant girlfriend, and she was seeking an abortion or was wanting to abort. And he said, "This is what I told him. Is this good information I gave him?" And he had given him some good advice, and I gave him a few other things, and then I said, "How about, did you send him to a pregnancy center for an ultrasound?" And it was like the light bulb went off in his head. He was like, "Oh, no, actually." I said, "Well, that would be a great place to start. That
Sure
would
would.
definitely benefit him in advocating for that baby, and allowing them to just get a little glimpse into the womb of the baby that's developing within her, hear the heartbeat." And it was just something that had totally, despite him being very familiar with pregnancy centers, the two of us here in the valley, it was something that had just completely spaced him.
Yeah.
So we are working on a presentation for pastors right now, actually. There's actually going to be a pastor's luncheon and training at ICLV Church here, International Church of Las Vegas, in October. They're going to sponsor the event for us, and we're inviting pastors to come over, have lunch, and we're going to discuss the topics relating to fetal development, women in their own churches that might be in unexpected pregnancies, the women in their church that are sitting there in silence suffering from abortion, as well as the number 6 initiative here in Nevada that's going back on the ballot for
Yeah.
the second round next year. Because we want to see people equipped. We want to see you confident in defending life. And there are a lot of little components to it that many people aren't aware of, and how to address some of those issues. And there's really no excuse for God's people to be ill-equipped in defending life. Yes, we have the Bible, and we know what God says about that, but we also need to know the basic development of a baby. We need to understand the woman who is post-abortive. How do you reach her? How do you reach her and help her arrive at a space where she feels liberated and forgiven and set free from her past choices? And how do you motivate, inspire, and encourage women who have had abortions to use their story to save the lives of others? Or even, we had a gal in here yesterday that had come in here for an abortion and just had a baby. And she was like, "Oh, I've never thought about sharing my story." And Eve told her, "Your story can inspire other mothers coming behind you to see you've made it over that bridge." So there's plenty of conversations to be had. There's plenty of little things that might seem insignificant to a lot of people, but just knowing those little details literally can mean life or death for a baby.
Yeah. And the date for that pastor conference coming up, do you have
I think it's October the 23rd.
All right. So if it's probably on our website, right? Is it up on our website?
It's
yet?
going to be right here for you right now.
But I want to mention also, as you go to this pastors conference, I would encourage
Yeah, it's October 23rd.
October 23rd. Is it RSVP if it is?
Yes.
Okay, so give us a call, 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273, and ask to be a part. Now, this is a pastor conference. This is a leadership conference in how to address very pertinent issues concerning pregnancy and this ministry for the people in your congregation. But I would also encourage our youth pastors to come. Because the youth is where a lot of these problems we're finding. A lot of the clients here are very young ladies, sometimes very young, and so we want to be able to reach out to them as well. And our youth pastors as well need this information. They need to be able to show how they can minister beyond just within the walls of a congregation to their young folks who are facing a lot of pressure nowadays, a lot of pressure, and that's First Choice is a resource for them. So we definitely want to be a part. So again, if you're looking, that's October
23rd.
October 23rd, and if you want to RSVP, we're talking about pastors, youth pastors, church leadership. The number is 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273.
Or if you're an emailer, you can email events@fcpschampions.org and let us know you're coming that way. There was a survey that was done years ago that had 7 out of 10 women, when they had their abortions, were attending church. So this is a issue that is a huge problem within the church, like many might not expect. Part of the motivation too behind this was speaking or listening to Dr. Mark Newman a few months ago. He just said that he was speaking to a group of pastors and asked how many of them had had a woman come to them in a unplanned pregnancy crisis situation. And one had their hand up. And then he said, okay, how many's had 2 or more? And the hand went down. And when he speaks to groups of pastors, he's not seeing pastors raising their hands. They are experiencing this in their churches. Yet statistics show that abortion clinics are being funded by the women in church.
Yeah.
So don't shy away from it.
Yeah. No,
Take the bull by the horns.
Absolutely.
Educate yourself and be the difference of life or death for
Amen.
a child.
Amen. October 23rd. And again, that's RSVP. Again, it's for senior pastors, youth pastors, leadership within the church, as we try to reach out, try to be a resource for you. Because, you know, a lot of the counselors and folks that work here at First Choice, many of them are dedicated specifically to counseling young ladies. Very often, a lot of our counselors have experienced some of the very things that the young ladies who come here have experienced or are experiencing. And so they can relate one-to-one with them. And so it's real ministry. And the other part that we want to share with you is the fact that this is a God-based center, faith-based. And nothing that we do are we able to do apart from the Holy Spirit. And so as we minister them in Christ's name, but with actual help. And that's what I love about First Choice. In fact, if you visit First Choice and take a tour of the facility, you'll fall in love with it as well. Again, so here's the date. Mark it down, October 23rd. And it's going to be at ICLV, the International Church of Las Vegas, and it is RSVP. So please take this number down and give them a call. Make sure that you're there, and make sure your youth pastor is there as well. Again, the number is 702-294-2273. Now, we're going to take a moment, and we are going to acknowledge one of the sponsors that make this portion of the broadcast possible. I want to take a moment to acknowledge one of the great sponsors of the Champions for Life radio broadcast, such as RTS Postal Express, for all your Las Vegas copy needs. Black and white copies, color copies, business cards, resumes, you name it. RTS Postal Express is going to meet your needs quickly. RTS stands for really terrific service. See my man, Angelo. Here's the telephone number, 702-489-4859. And if you mention the Champions for Life radio broadcast, get 10% off your first order. Welcome back, folks. I am privileged to be speaking with our Executive Director, Deborah Costello, and I'm Ken Wilson.
Ken's really the brains behind this operation.
No, actually, the brains are sitting over there. That's Max, who's our producer, making it happen. But this is our very first podcast, and we're very excited. And if you see us on Instagram, YouTube, X, Facebook, where this lands, give us a like. Let us know that you've seen our broadcast. You love what we're doing. Perhaps you are watching and you're not familiar with First Choice at all. I encourage you to find out about our clinic. It's a free resource for young ladies and families that are going through a troubling pregnancy, or maybe even we have a story here about some young ladies dealing with the abortion pill, and this is a very serious issue for our society and our culture now.
Yeah, Eve was just actually sharing a story with us. This is the second one I've heard in the last month, but we had a young lady that called us last week that was just 2 days past having her abortion, and she called here just struggling with the choice and decision she'd made. She'd been told she wouldn't see the baby when she aborted it, and she did see the baby as it was happening, actually.
She took the abortion pill.
No, this one was surgical.
Oh, it was a surgical abortion.
Yeah. And she ended up in the ER. She called down here. She was bleeding and things. And she said she hadn't been able to sleep since she'd done what she did. And so she ended up going to the ER and ended up finding out that she had an infection from the abortion. And so she said, they never warned me that anything like this could happen. And so you can be praying for women like her, because they are all across this country. She is going to come in here next week, I believe, and meet with one of the advocates to just try and encourage her on the path to healing. There's a place in town called Love Life, and they do, it's Restored Life, I guess is the other name of it. And they do post-abortive counseling. And so they're going to help connect her into that so that hopefully, as fresh as this is, God can use those people to help her move past the decisions she made. And hopefully she will come to know God out of this situation if she didn't know him. And her story can be very powerful to share with other people. You don't hear about these women ending up in ERs. Ever from abortions. They told her, oh, like there wasn't anything really to worry about. It would be quick and it would be done. And it was within the first day, I think she went home, that she started having some issues and turned to us, of all people, for help. Which brings about that story, the story Ken and I both ran across. I actually saw it yesterday on X, and then Ken had it today, so I was like, oh, we're both on the same page. There was a lady in Texas. It's a article from Life News. She had gotten pregnant by her neighbor and was all about having this baby. She would appear to be pro-life from the story, and he just kept trying to pressure her to abort. And so he bought abortion pills online, one of them from a company in Europe. And so this whole article goes through how he went about doing it. He couldn't get her to take it on her own. And so he ended up proposing to her that they have a trust-building night. And the idea was that they were going to co-parent. And so she decided to do it thinking that as co-parents, it would be productive in them getting along. And so 3 days later, he came over to her house and he made hot chocolate for her. And within 30 minutes of drinking it, she began to hemorrhage and cramp. And then when you read what he put in her hot chocolate, it's amazing, honestly, he didn't kill her because so an abortion pill, for those who don't know how it works, the first set of pills that they'll give you is to suppress the progesterone. It's the mifepristone. And then the second set of pills that you'll take, some people have more pills than others, is the misoprostol. And that one is to expel the baby. So the first one prevents it from getting the progesterone that it needs and the hormones, and it kills it. And then the next one expels it. This guy put 10 of the pills in there to expel it, which is the worst pill of all of them, because it induces your abortion, your pregnancy, expelling your baby. And so she ended up like going to the ER over the whole thing. And so now she is suing Aid Access, which is a European company. And she is trying to sue him as well for a wrongful death, because in Texas, abortion is illegal, as are these pills when the baby is a heartbeat. So it's an interesting case to follow, but it also shows just how deadly the abortion pill is. I was reading something this morning that Heartbeat International is doing a petition. 22% of the women are underreported in having complications. And so there is a petition on Heartbeat International's website asking Donald Trump to overturn the abortion pill just because of all the harm that it is doing to women. So you guys can check that out if you're interested on signing on to that and petitioning the White House to shut it down.
Wow, what and how tragic. I mean, prayers for this young lady as she goes through this. A lot of people haven't realized just how very many of these abortion drugs are now being distributed by Planned Parenthood and other companies, just to the to American women, not just women, to men as well, who will use them nefariously. And this woman could have died from this. I mean, I can't believe. To be honest with you, I'm surprised she survived. And it's just very, very tragic. And I really hope that the Trump administration and Mr. Kennedy looks into this, because there are a lot of ramifications through, just prolific distribution of a very dangerous drug that's taken by a woman unsupervised in their home. I mean, it's...
Not to mention all the chemicals that puts into our drinking water.
Not to mention.
And the human lives that wind up in water, sanitation places, plants.
Yeah. That's...
It's just bad all the way around. I mean, taking the life of an innocent person never can go good anyway, but this is like every which way you slice and dice it, like it's bad for everybody. It's bad for humanity.
Yeah. And I actually have a related story. And this deals with abortions via Zoom, and they call it telehealth abortions. And apparently, this is a story that was written by Dr. Michael New for the Journal of American Medical Association, and during the Biden administration. During COVID, telehealth abortions became possible, and when the FDA ended the requirement for an in-person medical exam, for women obtaining chemical abortions, it was supposed to end, because this in itself is dangerous, but the Biden administration continued this through the Food and Drug Administration, and so right now the Trump administration could have the power to, restore the old pre-pandemic rules where women are required via telehealth Zoom conferences to at least visit their doctor prior to taking the abortion drug, but. What's interesting is, in Dr. New's article, is that these telehealth abortions, which are continuing, by the way. So if you're not familiar how this works, a woman decides that she's going to take the abortion drug. She has a doctor. The pills are sent to her via the doctor is on the video screen and instructs her to take these pills, and
no ultrasound.
There's no ultrasound. The doctor, there's no inpatient, no in-clinic visit. And so in that in itself is quite dangerous, because you don't know how far along the woman is in her pregnancy. You don't know if it's an ectopic pregnancy, where by taking the abortion drug, you're actually risking your life. None of these things are ascertained. There's no sonogram that's taken. And so that in itself is dangerous. But what's interesting, according to this article by Dr. New, is that 84%, I'm going to say this again, 84% of these chemical abortion pills are being sent to states that have strong pro-life laws in place. So what's happening is, say, for example, you have a pro-life state such as Texas. Well, what's happening is a lot of these these abortion pills are being sent into these pro-life states to circumvent the pro-life laws of that state. And interestingly, 16% were sent to states where abortion is broadly legal. Counties and states with strong pro-life laws had a telehealth abortion rate that was 7 times higher than counties located in states that have more permissive abortion policies. And also counties with higher poverty rates had higher telehealth abortion rates. So, so again, you would see that it seems there's a targeting of poverty areas for abortion. And strong pro-life laws that were enacted during or after the Dobbs decision did some good, but multiple studies, according to Dr. New, have shown that birth rates are higher in states that have enacted those laws, which is great. However, the study in the Journal of American Medical Association study shows that that there's evidence that telehealth abortions are reducing the impact of these strong pro-life laws. And they also show that that the research has shown that adverse events due to chemical abortions have increased after the FDA allowed women to obtain chemical abortions without an in-person medical exam. So, there's a recent story of out in Texas. It shows that abusive men can order abortion pills online and use them to, force unsuspecting women to abort their pregnancies against their will. And that's a story that Deborah just wrote. And this is a real problem for our culture and society in America, where there's a nefarious use for abortion drugs for women who are pregnant and who want to keep their child. That's why I love the fact that First Choice offers pregnancy reversals for women who have taken the abortion drug, whether they've taken
Abortion pill reversals.
the abortion pill reversals, for women who've taken the drug, or maybe who have been coerced into taking it, or who have taken it unknowingly by being forced upon by someone else. And I'm just very grateful that First Choice has this type of medical service for women that can potentially save lives. We've actually saved lives here at First Choice. Lives have been saved from women who have taken the abortion drug and said, wait a minute, I've done something. I don't want to do this. I don't want to go through this. Have called First Choice, and their child is alive because First Choice was here to administer help to them. And I'm very grateful. And it's a very powerful testimony to the ministry of First Choice. So,
Actually, one of our babies went to Capitol Hill last year with her mom.
that's exactly
Her mom's
right.
a nurse and got ready to take the next pill. And she said the nurse in here kicked in and was like, am I going to watch my baby take its last breath? And found us. And now Kaylee's going to be 3 in October. And she's one of the biggest advocates for abortion pill reversal. And we have another baby. Baby Honey is her name. She's due October, an abortion pill reversal. It's a special one that I've been following particularly. They came in, the mom and dad, in February, I believe it was. And we just received these teddy bears, these heartbeat bears, we call them. There's a family here in town that got a teddy bear machine, one of those stuffing machines like from Build-A-Bear. And their parents wanted them to get involved in something that gives back. And so they make these heartbeat bears for First Choice. And we sell them at different events, and they have the heartbeat, sounds of heartbeats of different babies here at First Choice that have been scanned. And so we happened to have a bear here that day, and Eve took it back to them, and they said, she asked them which colors they wanted, if it was a blue one or a pink one. And they picked a pink one, and they're having a girl. So they were able to take their baby's heartbeat and put it into the heartbeat bear because it has a little pocket for the heartbeat of the baby in it. And so I've kind of been following their story lately. And they have named her Honey, and she's due in October. So that's one of the abortion pill reversals from earlier this year.
That's a cool story. Just one of the many services at First Choice, actually saving the lives of our patients. Just amazing. All right, I want to take a moment to acknowledge one of the sponsors. So please pay special attention to one of these wonderful sponsors of First Choice, one of these champions for life. want to take a moment to acknowledge one of the great sponsors that make this portion of the broadcast possible, and that's Dr. Ray Kelly of Kelly Chiropractic. Treats injuries from falls, accidents, motor vehicle crashes, work-related incidents. For those of you who are suffering from allergies, he also has a procedure called acutherapy, going to treat your allergies and ease some of that discomfort. Accepts most forms of insurance. Been in the business over 33 years here in Las Vegas. Give him a call. Set up your appointment. The number is 702-870-9200. Welcome back, folks, to Champions for Life radio broadcast, being simulcast on KKVV, 1060 AM here in Las Vegas. And I'm Ken Wilson, and the hostess of the show, Deborah Costello, and the executive director for First Choice Pregnancy Services, Model Crisis Pregnancy Center in the nation. So,
Ken loves saying
I
that.
love saying that. Well, I mean, it's true. I mean, who's going to argue with Focus on the Family?
Yeah,
I mean,
Focus
nobody.
on the Family is great. They actually sent us for some training a couple of months ago that was super beneficial and helpful. They've been great co-laborers along the way.
Not only them, Knights of Columbus, too. Mm-hmm. You know, we love the Knights of Columbus out there because of their dedication and helping us with equipment and such. I love them because they're the behind-the-scenes folks that do marvelous things, not just for First Choice, but for many crisis pregnancy centers around the nation.
Yeah, they put a lot of ultrasound machines in pregnancy centers. A lot of people aren't aware of that.
Yes, they have. We love the Knights of Columbus.
We have some great Knights here in the Valley.
Yep.
I have a few favorite ones. I probably better not start mentioning names because then I'll forget one of my favorite ones and then they'll feel hurt that I didn't say their name. There's some great ones.
Well, actually...
The Frenchy one is one of my favorites. So that's for you guys to figure out.
Okay. You're going to get a chance, actually, to meet some of these wonderful Knights of Columbus folks at our 40 Days for Life kickoff. And so that's coming up. For those of you who are not familiar, 40 Days for Life is a prayer ministry here in Las Vegas, but not just here. Literally hundreds and hundreds of cities around the world and throughout the United States, almost every single state. It's going to kick off on September 24th, go through November 2nd. This is 40 days of prayer, right? And it's 12 hours a day. Some cities are 24 hours a day of folks that are praying in front of a local abortion facility legally on a public sidewalk or easement. And they're just praying for 30 minutes or an hour, and then someone will come behind them, and then they will pray, or a couple of people or a few people. A lot of churches, what they do is they like to adopt a day. And we do encourage churches to do that, where they'll adopt a day, and for those 12 hours, they'll schedule folks to pray at an abortion facility during those 12 hours. And I got to be honest with you, I've been doing this now for 20 years here in Las Vegas.
I don't think Ken told you he leads this here.
I have been honored to coordinate the Las Vegas campaign for 40 Days for Life. And the stories that we've had, I mean, are
Give us your
innumerable.
favorite story.
Well, the favorite one is where you actually get, we had a couple. The couple they were Spanish. There's so many stories, but they already had 4 girls. I believe it was 4 girls, and they were pregnant with their 5th child. And they were not legal citizens in the United States. They were Spanish. They didn't speak English very well, and they were on their way to the abortion facility when they ran into folks praying at 40 Days for Life, and miracle upon miracle, our 40 Days folks intervened, prayed for them, came alongside of them, led them to First Choice, and I think it was a year later, maybe 2, they came to one of our rallies, and I actually got to hold that child that was saved. And it was amazing because...
Was it a boy or a girl?
It was a boy.
wondering.
So you had 4, they had 4 girls, and then they had a little boy. And it was so cool being able to have that young child there, and to see the joy of the parents, and of course all the daughters, which were very ecstatic about having a baby brother, and it was so cool. But what was interesting was how it happened. They didn't speak any English, and the first lady that they wanted to talk to was Filipino. She didn't speak any Spanish. So we had a 40 Days prayer person just, was there trying to talk to them, but they couldn't. And so we had another lady that was praying who just happened to be a nurse at UMC who was praying during 40 days, and she spoke Spanish. And so between the 3 of them, they were able to just kind of coordinate, and that nurse, that family ended up calling her their angel. you know, and
Yeah.
you can be that angel by being a part of 40 Days for Life. So if you would like more information about how you can be a part of the prayer campaign, 40 Days for Life, pick a day, pick an hour during the 40 days of this campaign. Again, it's going to start on September 24th, go all the way to November 2nd. If you want to be a part, you can log into our website, 40daysforlife.com/Las Vegas, and just sign up. We have an online calendar for folks who are willing to pray and want to see where they can pray with other people, or maybe you want to get your church involved, or maybe you would like to invite us to your church so that we can share 40 days with your entire congregation. Whether you give us 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or a half hour, we can do, you know, we can explain it to you guys. And it's very peaceful. We're very law abiding. But the most important thing is that prayer makes a difference. We were praying at an abortion. This is the second abortion facility that we've prayed at during 40 days that has closed. Now they've gone and moved to another place, so we've decided to follow them. But we're just going to keep praying until abortion is no longer an option here in our city, and not only our city, but our country and throughout the world.
For a
Amen?
little context and background on Ken's story of them bringing them to First Choice. First Choice strategically opened up here on a private drive right in front of the busiest late-term abortion clinic in the state of Nevada. And so it took them 19 and a half years to decide that they were going to move. We were intercepting so many of their babies daily. We'd get 2 to 3 of their abortion appointments that would walk in here every day because they'd have to pass us to get to them. And so being across from them while they were out there praying, they were able to just walk people across the street to us.
It was an amazing thing, and maybe on another show we'll talk about how, you know, we prayed for a place like First Choice to come, and God answered that prayer. Is miraculous as far as I'm concerned. And but yeah, that's right. For 40 days we had the incredible blessing of having a wonderful crisis pregnancy center, First Choice Pregnancy Services, and we could just literally walk the young ladies. I remember one time we had prayed. We were praying when it was like 5 or 6 young high school age girls. It was the end of the day. The abortion clinic was about to close. First Choice was about to close. And I personally intercepted these young ladies, and I just couldn't, I was struck by how young they were. And sure enough, one of the young ladies was pregnant. One of these young high school age girls was pregnant. And I don't know what it is that I had said to them, but I said, but listen, before you go and walk in there and pay this abortion clinic for whatever they want to do for her, at least get some advice from First Choice, where the sonogram is free, the counseling is free, and there's no monetary incentive for them to get, you know, to influence you in any way. And so I couldn't believe it. All 6 of these girls walked into First Choice, and it was many years ago. I don't know what their ultimate decision was, but the fact that First Choice was there as a resource was just such a blessing. Made it very, very easy. And I'm sure the abortion facility at the end of the street eventually said, enough's enough. We're tired of all these people praying. We're tired of this First Choice, crisis pregnancy center right next to our abortion. We're just tired of them intercepting our patients. And they went away.
Yeah, I think about 2 years ago, I was calculating some stats. And at that point in the year, I think we had it was like 360 gals that had ended up coming in here for abortions that ended up staying for our services.
Wow.
And when I calculated just the low, because abortion prices vary depending on stages of pregnancy. So if you do an abortion between like 5 to 11 weeks, it's generally about $700. After 12 weeks, because the baby's bones begin to calcify and the abortion procedure is more intense, they change the price every week. Some weeks by 50, then it goes to 100, then it goes to 200 every week. And so I just did the low end number of 700 and calculated it was like close to $500,000 of babies that had been saved as a result of coming here and taking that out of their income. Which brings me to another thing. One of our employees here the other day told me that one of the Planned Parenthoods in town closed.
Yes.
So I was like, praise God. That big, beautiful bill, whatever people think about it. One good thing it is doing is saving babies' lives.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, it was great to see that the Planned Parenthood here in Las Vegas closed. And
I think there's one left, right?
yeah, they've moved to North Las Vegas into a poverty area. Surprise, surprise. And I think even the one on the east side of town also closed. And they're trying to coordinate into that one location. But the bottom line is, whether you pray during 40 days or whether you get more information about First Choice and either volunteer or advocate or sponsor even, the more you get involved with this, there's no question the rewards and blessings just begin to pile up in your life. And there's the beauty of it all is the grateful moms and families. That's why I love the galas that First Choice has, and especially this last year. And we were able to see and meet a lot of these families because we've invited many of them to come to the gala so that our sponsors and our donors could actually meet them and see face to face some of the children, the moms and dads that whose child was alive because of their sponsorship, their donation, and it's just so great to go from one to the next and just see these beautiful couples, beautiful moms with their children, these beautiful, gorgeous children. I mean, it was just so awesome. It was very memorable this last gala.
And I'll put out an announcement on this that hasn't gone out anywhere yet.
News breaking. News
November the 7th is our gala.
Yes.
We're doing it a little different this year. It is going to be very limited seating. So keep your eyes peeled for that.
Okay.
And
November 7th.
our speaker, have I told you our speaker is Ken?
No. Is it me? I don't know.
Our speaker is going to be Cal Zastro.
Oh, yes.
He
Cal.
is one of the individuals that President Trump
He was pardoned.
for the FACE Act violation that they got tagged with the last administration.
Wow. Oh, Cal.
So I think he is going to be a phenomenal listen. He's been
absolutely.
engaged in the pro-life ministry for
Decades.
yeah. I actually was talking to him last week, and it was really crazy because he's done rescues and all that stuff over his lifetime. And I was talking to my mom when I was home about a month ago, and she said, "Oh yeah, Cal's son used to come visit Dad a lot before he passed away. My dad passed with cancer, and Cal's son would come visit my dad." And I was talking to Cal the other day, and he's like, "I met your dad one time." And I was like, really? It's so crazy how people that are involved in the pro movement oftentimes cross each other at some point along the path. And just a plug for 40 Days for Life, the prayers of a righteous man avail much.
Amen.
And prayer is such a powerful and strong tool. And as I plug 40 Days for Life, I'll also plug those that stand out in front of abortion clinics, because that is some of the hardest work that can be done in the pro-life movement.
Yeah.
You sit there and you watch mothers and fathers come in and out of those doors, taking the lives of their babies, sometimes not knowing if they changed their minds. And there are a lot of faithful people across this country that stand in front of abortion clinics daily. My dad did that for 30 years.
Yeah.
And you don't always know this side of heaven, but when my dad entered heaven, I said, I could only imagine some of those babies and families that he got to meet up there.
Yeah.
So take some time out, pray. Prayer is such a powerful tool that costs you nothing.
Yeah. Amen. And think about being involved, whether it's 40 Days for Life or maybe being a volunteer at First Choice Pregnancy Services. If you've never seen the facility, I strongly encourage you to call and set up a tour of this clinic. You will be amazed at just how it's just a beautiful facility. And it's not surprising that, a great majority of the women that come through these doors, after they've seen the facility and they've met the staff and they see how wonderful and caring they are and that literally care about her and her child, why so many of them decide to keep their baby. And it's just such a blessing. And you can be a part of this. And if you think that perhaps you can, a little time that you can spare, first get your tour. Take a tour of the facility, and then consider being a volunteer at First Choice. We can use you, especially if you maybe have some, professional acumen. Maybe you're in the medical profession already. Either way, so give us a call. Our number, 702-294-CARE. That's 702-294-2273. And call and set up your tour, and bring a friend. And maybe your pastor. That would be awesome.
Maybe bring a group of people from your church. We've
That
had
would
a
be- that
few
would be
people
awesome.
do that. Set up tours for groups of people from their church and come together as a
See our
group.
studio.
Take a tour.
Because our studio is being shot actually inside the clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We actually don't have to go anywhere anymore. Usually I would run out of here and go meet Ken. Now I'm like, wow, I can just stay here, do my work, and then come back here and record. It's a blessing, actually.
Yeah, it's amazing to see what God can do with just some willing hearts and a little space, and amazing things can happen, and you can be a part of it as well. And we would love to come and present what God is doing. I mean, think of it now: 45,000 children are alive and are happy with their families, even some adoptions that are happy with their families today, because First Choice exists. And not only because First Choice exists, I mean, a building is just a building. We couldn't do it without the volunteers. We couldn't do it without our doctors, our nurses, our staff people that are here in the administrative offices, our counselors, folks that are, that are behind the scenes, like our great guy Max over here is producing the show, people that you never see that are making it happen at First Choice. And you can be a one. I'll tell you this, the Lord is watching, and he sees where your heart is. And if you contribute just a few minutes to helping in this fight for life, where the result is a lifetime blessing, I promise you the reward, this is a reward that will never be taken away from you. And you can be a part of it. It can happen. So I encourage you, be a part. Give
And you
First
could
Choice a
make
call.
so much impact in the lives of people. I just got a text a little while ago. I don't get to engage a lot with the patients here on a regular basis because I'm not generally going into a counseling room unless we're really busy. But there's one that I have had over to my house for dinner, and I've kind of kept up with her and her little girl. And she texted me a little while ago, and she said, "Hey, do you ever visit Fervent?" That's a church. I just recently bought her a Bible with her name engraved on it.
Ooh, nice.
And so there's a crazy story behind that whole story. But just taking a little time to speak life into women whose lives are just in chaos, not only can make a difference in life and death of that child, but it can make a difference in the eternal destination of that mother and child. And so to be able to see these children come back, to see how it changes their parents' lives, it gives them something to live and fight for. And he was just talking about adoption here a minute ago. We don't get a whole lot of women these days that are seeking adoption because people don't really hear about a whole lot of adoption. People just cover their pregnancies and they go get an abortion so nobody knows they were pregnant. But Eve was telling us today about one that came in here just recently that is couch surfing, and she's 18 years old, or early 20s, doesn't know who the father of the baby is, and came in here wanting to abort. And here at First Choice, we share the full truth in a very loving way, which includes sharing the reality of what abortion is. And so we give all of these gals the opportunity to watch a video if they choose to. The videos can range from fetal development, doctors explaining abortion procedures, women who have made choices of single parenting, adoption, aborting. We try to give them all information so that whatever choice they're making, they make it from an educated standpoint. And this gal ended up choosing to watch one of the videos that actually shows an abortion. And watching that video changed her mind. And she said, I had no idea that's what it was. I can't do that. And so she just met with the adoption agency rep here, I think last week. Isn't sure if she's going to keep the baby or place for adoption. But those are the type of broken women that we deal with here. They find themselves in situations like that, don't know of resources that are available to them, that just need somebody to take a little time, show they care, connect them with resources, and just love on them like Jesus would have us to do.
Amen. And again, you can be a part of that. And I encourage you to find out more information. You never know when you run into someone, whether it's a coworker or a friend, who just would like to go and talk to someone privately in the medical field. You know, maybe they can't talk to a pastor. Maybe they're, maybe they're not comfortable talking to you, perhaps. But you can send them to a wonderful clinic like First Choice. And by doing so, you could not only save the child's life, but you could save the joy and the well-being, the emotional well-being of that woman and the father and that whole family. And they would be eternally grateful. So here's the number, First Choice. It's 702-294-2273. That's 702-294-CARE. And find out, get more information either about adoption or about services that we provide here. And, as you pray and move out, as you move forward in helping and reaching out to folks, I promise you, God will bless you, and you could be a champion for life.